Howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. This is episode 603. The Detroit Lions prepping for the Combine. It's the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashing host, Chris, going fast. And with me is my good friend and co-host, Jeff, the Riz Done. How you doing, my brother?
I am getting ready for Indy. Ready to be there.
Indy.
Combine is fun. Great time. I was telling you just before we went on the air, all the places that I get to eat next week and some of the people that I'm getting to eat with. It's going to be a very fun week. It's
your dance card is truly full.
It is when I learn more about the league and honestly how the league perceives the Lions more than any other week of the year, aside from getting stuff on free agency and draft and all that good stuff. And we'll get all that too.
Yeah, fuck the league. No, I'm just joking. All right, let's talk about. We got a lot going on here. It's weird now that YouTube lets you do that. They're getting desperate. Let's talk about what we got going on today's show. We're gonna say the big question right now is who in the hell is going to make football decisions in Allen Park? We'll get to that.
Oh no!
No. We'll talk about the Lions cap and some of the information going on there. A little sprint through free agency, and we will prep for the Combine. We got all that and a whole lot more. Mr. Riston, are you ready to go, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right, that's what we get. We don't have the the interim little piece of video. Whatever. All right, we got this. First thing we want to talk about today is welcome, everybody. How you doing? First thing we're going to talk about today is who in the hell is going to make football decisions in Allen Park. Risden, I'm really kind of scared. Are they going to focus on getting a ketchup guy to fix the rancid ketchup issue and forego all the good football decision making? Has Sandman completely ruined this franchise?
He did actually complain vociferously about the ketchup, and it was rancid. So, but it got fixed, did it not?
It did. It
did. It's yeah. So if you missed it, Rod Wood's retiring. Good for him. I want to say that he's old, but he's old enough to retire, especially since he's been working for the Ford family in one form or another for, I think, almost 30 years. And he worked in investment banking for like 20 years before that. So I'm going to guess he's at least in his 70s. I don't know his age, but he's for all the controversy that came out when he first got hired, and me all the time mistaking him for the Rolling Stones bassist. Like he wound up being a pretty good hire, honestly.
Yeah.
In terms of what all he did for the team, and I know there are people out there that are like, oh, he's screwed up to like he made so many bad decisions. Like, he got better too. He is responsible for why you like Ford Field, and by the way, why Ford Field is still a viable venue for the Lions.
Yep, the last barn built, as far as stadiums go, if not the last, one of the very last barns built in that style, and still really, really viable as an institution. It's what, 30 years old now?
Yes, it is. It was almost 30 years old. It was constructed in the late 90s. I believe it opened in 2000 or 2001 season.
Yep.
One of those, which makes it's in the 10 oldest stadiums that are in existence right now, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And like you look at like Chicago is moving. Cleveland is moving. Their stadium opened in 1999. I've been in that stadium a lot. It's a very nice place. They don't want it anymore. So the fact that Ford Field remains where it is, Rod Wood, I don't want to give him a lot of credit for it, but he's certainly made it better than it was when he got there. And that's sort of his legacy with the Lions. He's left them better than when he got there. Because when he got there, 2015, right? He got there in 2015?
Yeah, right around then, yeah.
So that is Jim Caldwell. Yeah, that is the Jim Caldwell era, which was marked by mediocrity and dead cap. He was involved in the Patricia decision. He was not the decision maker in that, but he was involved in it.
Well, let's be fair. They brought in outside counsel, right? He was in the decision to bring in what was his name?
Ernie Accorsi.
Yeah, Corsi. I was going to say Corsi.
I loved when they brought Ernie Accorsi in, and most people did.
Yeah, it was a great move with a horrible decision outcome, right? I mean,
yeah.
Oh, Rod Wood, you mentioned he's old enough to retire. He's got a lot left. He's going to enjoy his retirement. It's deserved. Yeah. He's healthy. He's going to have a really good run and get the deserved time that everyone really kind of deserves at the end of it all. Jordy here with Rod Wood is such a rock hard name. I really never noticed. I've noticed every time I said it. It was I had to make sure that I wasn't saying something something incorrect. But yeah, he's an interesting cat, and he was interactive with a lot of people, a lot of fans and Lions fans, and you can't say that for many people that are in a role like his. And I got to give him credit. He was human. He was reachable, and that's all you can ask for, right? I mean, you can ask for a good employee too, and he's done a pretty good job. But I can't fault the guy for anything that he rocked to.
Yeah, a couple of the things that highlight what he did actually do for the Lions. He got the Meyer sponsorship and Allen Park. Again, you don't want to give him sole credit for that, but he certainly pushed for that when he saw other places around the league. I can't think of another team that doesn't have their training camp or training facility or both sponsored. And the Lions were an outlier, and he fixed that.
Yeah.
Now, could he have done that sooner? Maybe. I don't know, but better late than never, certainly. And he's the one who got Chris Spielman back into the fold and who was one of the 3 or 4 people responsible for picking both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And we are much better for that.
Yeah, 100%. I want to talk really quick about Ford Field, and it's entering the age that it is. Do you know that Ford Field features prominently in the movie True Romance?
I don't think I've seen that movie. That's Christian Slater, right?
Yep. I haven't seen it.
I've not seen it.
I actually just saw it and realized that I'd never seen it, and I thought I had. It's a really good movie. And we watched it for Valentine's Day, my wife and I. The reason, and people say Ford Field wasn't built when that was shot. What are you talking about? You're crazy, because it was a 93 movie. But if in the scene where Christian Slater kills the pimp in True Romance, he goes to the pimp's house, and I'm going to work from memory here. I think the address was 422 East Montcalm, which is right there at the corner where Ford Field is right now. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting that it wound up in this place where I was like, we could go. This is based in Detroit. Let's see how much of this is actually. Oh, that's not going to be there. So anyway,
that's funny.
That's
interesting. I was in downtown Detroit last weekend, and we commuted from Huntington Place to where Wayne State plays their basketball. By the way, the Pistons did a fantastic job with Wayne State's arena. Thumbs up from a Michigan Tech basketball family. That's a great place to see a game. If you're around to see a Motor City Cruise game, I would recommend going. It's a great venue. But we want to driving right by Ford Field and around it. And my daughter she hadn't been down there in a little bit. She's like, oh, it still looks good. Yeah, it does. It really does.
Lee Hammer, great question. As Rod Wood leaves the building, will Megatron ask him if he's earned his leaving gift?
Rod got to play the bad guy in that one. He was put in an awkward spot. He put himself out. So he did put himself in an awkward spot there. I also think that
he took the fall for Quinn, I think, on that.
Calvin probably could have handled that a lot better too.
I think Rod took a little bit of the fall for Quinn because Quinn was new.
I think so too.
And
I don't know that that's true, but it sure feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is speculation, right? This is speculation because that's not how Rod had operated before or after that point.
No, it's not. They've been very, in fact, almost unfailingly great to their legacy players.
Yeah,
that was a troubling time. That was a dark time for the Lions. That 5-year span from 16 to 20 was just. It wasn't fun. It was not a fun team to cover.
Hard, man. It's hard.
It really wasn't.
Brent DeWitt. Me and my daughter went to a preseason game when Ford Field opened in 2002. Mike McMahon.
That's right. It was 2002 was when it opened. That's correct.
Mike McMahon
because the Texans opened the following year. Their first year was 2003.
Yeah. Now I have to say though, at this age, a lot of places start thinking about where they want to put the field. I don't know what you can do with Comerica Park right there. The thing now about the decisions of locating those things and building that whole kind of Foxhound district and everything, what do you do when it's time to replace one of those stadiums, right? The old ballpark can probably stay. Those things tend to last a lot longer than your football palaces. But man, if they do it, they're going to, the best case, I think, is if they decide they're going to play somewhere else for 3 years while they blow it up and rebuild on the same location. I think that would be ideal, but it's I don't know what
you go play at the Big House in Ann Arbor or something like that.
It would be fun. I would love outdoor football. Having gone to the Big House this year for a rainy game,
it's fun, isn't it?
A cold game, actually. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Yeah,
it wasn't raining. Sorry, that was my New York experience. All right. So that's it. No more football decisions going to be made in Allen Park. This team is off the rails. Forget about it. Write them off. You might as well be a Patriots fan. All right. Next thing we want to talk about is
one thing real quick.
Okay.
Mike Disner taking over.
He seems to have a pretty good head on his shoulders.
He does. If they stay internal, I think he would certainly be the candidate to get that.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about that though. I got the email. I was in Meyer today, and my first thought, and I shared this in the Slack, was like, if they didn't announce it, not one person in the Slack would ever notice a difference that Rod Wood is or is not there.
Yeah,
that's my honest to God first reaction to
actually. We've got a really big question coming in from Jeff Merrill. We got to put it out. It's as a member of the press, covering the Detroit Lions podcast. He has a question for us here at the podium. How do you feel about Rod Wood jobs, and how does this make Dan Campbell's arms look more intimidating? Very solid media quality question, Riz. As a member of the media, officially, I'm going to let you handle the answering.
I'll be straight. I don't really understand the question.
It makes Campbell's arms even more intimidating because Disner is not a big man either, so he can still look.
He's not
powerful,
but Rod. I'm not intimidated by Dan. Like maybe it's because I'm around big people all the time, but like he looks good for his age. Like I'm admirable of that.
One of the things I think you'll find, large people who are still free in the public spaces tend not to be aggressive, but you don't want to fuck with them.
Yeah. Like you come up on, Robert Porcher. I met him for the first time this summer. He still looks like he can play, and dude's got to be in his 60s. Yeah. But like he was the nicest dude, and like Lomas Brown still. He doesn't look like he can play anymore, but Lomas still carries himself pretty well for the man of his age and his size. He is the sweetest person you will ever meet.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the gentle giant type thing. It's
weird. I mean, I've got pretty big hands. I'm a bigger guy. When I saw him it was at camp one time. I've talked to him a bunch of times on the phone and kind of, virtually like this. But went up, hey, how you doing, Lomas? And shook his hand, and it engulfed my whole arm. Like my whole forearm just disappeared. Like, holy shit, now that's a big fucking man.
What was it same man who said that shaking hands with him was like grabbing a bunch of bananas because his fingers are so long. Like you see why he was such a great tackle. His hands are massive, and we'll get into some talk about that in combine talk, because like he's the prototype for the big hands, dude. Like that's what you want in an offensive tackle. You want a guy who's got that and grip strength, and Lomas certainly had that. Still has that too, Mike. If you shake his hand, by the way. If you're gentle, he will be gentle. If you put pressure, he's going to put pressure back, and
he won't lose. He won't lose.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
Just be a decent human being. That's all. All right, let's move on to the next topic, Riz. I know we want to keep it tight tonight. We got a lot coming up and a lot going on here. The Detroit Lions cap, and I know you've been doing some work on this. This is one of the things I think that's awesome about your new kind of professional position, you get a lot more time to create and think and analyze and be you versus
Yes.
checking somebody else's boxes. And I think you've done some good stuff here. So I'm going to kind of cede the moment to
All right.
Giuseppe Risdone. Go ahead, my man.
Okay, so one of the thoughts that I've had, and it's something that we have talked about this in the Slack a little bit, and it's also been something that we've talked about on Blue Sky with the Lions group that's there. Shout out to y'all. Enjoy y'all company there. The fact that there's a lot of talk about the Lions being able to free up money. And my theorem going into this was that because they have so many void years already on all their premium deals, that limits what they can do in terms of restructuring. Like, yeah, you can restructure Jared Goff and get some money out of that, but you can't really go to the bank of Hutchinson or the bank of Derek Barnes even.
Yeah.
Because the renegotiation, how you would renegotiate it isn't there. Like, it's not the void years are already there. Like, you've already spread it out. And that means that you are putting an exorbitant amount of dead cap onto your cap down the road. Now, as the cap increases, you can cover that. But sooner or later, you've got to pay for it. The New Orleans Saints have found that out. The San Francisco 49ers have found that out and have not been well for it, unfortunately. So I am certainly not a cap expert. I'm conversant in it. So I turned to a couple of guys that I know who are, and I will actually quote Jack Duffin, who is a Browns guy. He's my favorite British Browns guy, second favorite British Browns guy. I love Paul Brown too. They actually do a podcast together. They're great guys. So I asked Jack. I reached out to him before he went to bed. I said, I'm curious as to how much void years on contracts limit the flexibility and potential for restructures. And then I explained some of the line situations. And then, so this is what Jack said. And he has written pieces for Over the Cap in the past, by the way. So he's well versed in this stuff. I said, if you are using void years and pushing the cap out with option years, then you are effectively doing the restructure up front. He brought up that the Browns have done this with Myles Garrett. You could do a void year and a restructure, but every time you do it, you're rolling the money forward. And the contracts don't get smaller. So doing the way that you do with the void years up front gives you the most flexibility to afford more people early. That's what Jack said. And that's what the Lions have done. So, you can try to restructure it, but you're not going to get that much out because you've already prorated over that much more time. You can obviously convert signing bonus to salary or salary to signing bonus and get things off that way. But there's only so much of that you can do. And one of the ways that you do it, you add a void year or two onto the contract. So you're amortizing it out over more time. And the Lions, unless they want to go, let's say they do Jared Goff and they want to do where they add another couple of void years to spread it out, they're going to be paying for him 5 years after he's gone.
Yeah.
That's a terrible way to do business. So
it's
the way that the Lions are, and the Lions are at the forefront with Mike Disner being the spearhead of it. Tip of the spear. I just watched Edge of Tomorrow. I love that movie. Stuck in my head. Tom Cruise's second best work after Les Grossman. I will take no substitutes. They are the people who are putting void years onto everything proactively. Right. A lot of other teams will maybe tack one on, or if it's a massive contract, maybe two. And the Lions, they're routinely putting 3 void years on every premium contract. Well, one of the things that does, it makes it so it's more affordable now, but it does eliminate how much benefit you get from restructuring. Okay. So while there's a lot of talk out there about how the Lions can, move money around and play with it, they don't have near the flexibility that other teams do that don't have the void years stacked in already. So there is a downside, in fact, to having the void years. And you're running into it now when you need more money to pay for things now because you can't get as much that way. That was what Jack explained. And I actually had the conversation with Troy Chapman, who was Texans OTC. He's a great Texans and salary cap must follow guy if you're into football financing at all. He's really, really sharp at this. And he basically said the same thing, although I will say that Troy was much more amenable to the idea of just throw another couple void years on there at the capital raise. So
let me. This is my take on that. And look, sometimes people get desperate. I understand it, but void years are like buying a consumable item on a credit card and paying for it long after you've thrown it away. That's the interest, where the interest comes from. You wind up having to pay for something that you don't have, right? And that's the cost of doing it. You're just selling your future in the name of the present. So what are you getting for that? And in my mind, if you're going to sell the future, you damn well better bring home the trophy in the present, right? And you watch that happen with as you said, the Saints. They increased their debt a little more until it was like, all right, put the TNT under the bridge. This thing's got to go. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not. I love the idea of being fiscally prudent and always having a chance to make it to the game. I think that's such a better idea because we've seen it. 15-2, one fuck up, right? Some injuries, boom, you're out. You're out. You know what I mean? That's it. You lost it. Did you go all in? Now you're fucked for years, right? I like the idea of making, because eventually you will get there. If you're always in the dance, you'll always get a girl. I stretched that part of the analogy there, but anyway, so you gotta go. I mean, and I know there's a lot of people that said, I've waited too long. I don't care. I want it now. But what happens if Goff gets hurt? And you went all in?
What happens if you trade for Max Crosby like the Packers did with Micah Parsons and he gets hurt?
Yep.
The Packers are screwed. And by the way, we applauded, as did most Lions fans begrudgingly, like, damn, that's the move we wish we could make. Well, look where they're at now.
Mm-hmm.
They have no first-round pick this year or next year. No way to replace Parsons on the field. And, oh, by the way, they're paying him an ungodly amount of money to not play. They went all in and busted. Now, maybe in 2027 he's healthy and they are able to tie things together, but I don't think so. They're not better than the Lions. They're certainly not better than Detroit anymore since he's been hurt. And that's the risk that you run when you're paying for things that you don't have. Now, I will just say, to counter you, I was a massive Cleveland Indians. I know that the Guards now, but the Indians back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We were a very competitive team from 94 after the strike all the way through 2000, or the 99. I moved at the end of the 1999 season, and we were in it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Got to 2 World Series, but never won. But I will tell you, the 96 year really sucked because that was the year we were the best team in baseball and lost because Robbie Alomar. Fuck that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I digress. I think back to that time, and my wife, we used to go to a lot of games. Like, we look very fondly back at that time. Like, damn, they were so good for so long. It was a great run. And yeah, it does stink that we never got it, but it was so great being good for a long time when they had never been like, Chris, I was born in 1972. Before 1993, the Indians had 2 winning seasons in my lifetime. 2.
So let me ask, did you from 1973 till 1990 was that as fun as the 10 years of runs, even though they didn't get it?
God, no.
So
it was awful. It was awful.
Was 0-16 fun for the Lions fans, or is it a lot more fun going 15-2 and not quite making it, but having a shot the next year? Now, the next year, I know, was not a great year. This year was not what we expected or anticipated. There's other reasons, but there's nothing to say that the Lions won't be back in it next year, right? I'd rather have the chance. I would rather have the chance. It is no fun to go to the casino with no money.
The thrill of having a legitimate chance and belief going into the season. It's not just false belief. Like, it's real.
Yeah.
You're one of the top 5 betting favorites every year. There's something to be said for that. And like, even if this Lions team never wins a title, and that would really suck, but when we look back on it 10 to 15 years after it's done, like, damn, man, we were really good.
Dude,
that was a fun time to be a Lions fan.
The Red Wings dynasty. I mean,
yeah,
they edged us forever. President's Trophy.
Yes, they did.
Make it swept in the first round, right? I mean,
yep.
Year after year after year, and they finally made it. And what a release when they did. I
Great
had about a 6-week refractory period after that. It was crazy. They
were like that. They were like that through the 90s as well until they broke through in 97. Like they were, like 100%. You said, President's Trophies, plural. Like 7. I remember the one year they had 7 All-Stars and lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they didn't tear it all down. They kept building up, and
joy.
They got it.
The joy and the memories of that journey, and then getting there. It was so fantastic. The city was just it was. Yeah. And when I say a light, I mean in a good way, right? It was awesome. It was so fun. Good time. So anyway, that's my take. That's where I'd rather be with it. I like that kind of. It's just me. Whatever. Yeah. All right, let's get rocking here. We're going to go into free agency. We're going to do a quick sprint around free agency. March 11th at 4 p.m. is when free agency starts. I'm going to start with a super chat question that came in from, I'm going to say it, sorry, Dickhead, 6184. Richard, I think that's what you're after anyway. So with limited, I hope, got him. Now all of a sudden that's his real name and I'm a fucking dick, right? With limited funding, it's likely the Lions will not be very active in free agency. So realistically, who could they afford?
You can afford a lot of the non-premium guys. Like, you're not going to get into a bidding war with Tyler Linderbaum. By the way, all 31 fan bases not named the Ravens think that Tyler Linderbaum is going to be their center next year. Even ones that have all-pro centers. Like, they're all like, we're getting this guy. Doesn't matter. We're getting him.
Good.
Lions are not going to get – the Lions – know your team. The Lions are not going to get into a bidding war for a center. They're just not.
I will take the discarded all-pro center that somebody replaced.
Yes. I'd like Helte for a hold from Arizona if they decide to trade him. That'd be nice. I don't think they're trading him because he's like, there's no point in trading him if you're them, like, because then you have to replace him and you're probably going to have a new quarterback. You probably want a good center in front of him. Like, I don't know. Yep. I do like Helte though.
Yeah.
But you can get Ethan Posick comes up a lot, but he tore his Achilles the week before Branch did. So he's kind of a downer, but you can bring in Wyatt Teller as a guard. You can bring in like the second tier guys. How they got Kevin Zeitler. You can get somebody of that caliber. You can get somebody of the Khalif Raymond caliber.
Yep.
Not at that position, but you can. DJ Reed is probably the top end of what you could afford as a corner or safety this year. But there are guys that fit that bill. You know.
Can I ask you? The question is, we talked about this in our last roundtable, and I've been number one because it's my idea and I love myself. But something I've been chewing on is the idea of what single move can you do to help the defense the most, because there are so many gaps, right? And the talk was power the line. And Joey Bosa out there, and I've seen him mocked. It's a big investment. We'd have to do a lot to make that happen, right? I mean, you'd have to do a lot, but that definitely puts a whole new face on this defense and makes up for some significant holes that also have to be filled, likely with guys that are going to have to grow into the position. What's your thought?
I'm looking up his injury history now. It's not Marcus Davenport, but it's not far off, folks. He missed, let's see, I'm going to do 2. He missed 30 games over the last 5 seasons. 31. I forgot they played 17 games. That's a lot for a guy who is, how old is he? He is, he's a fantastic player. He is 30. He'll be 31 in July. You're going to have to weigh, would you pay him premium dollars or, and this is, I can't answer this for you. Like this is like you decide on these things. Would you rather pay, that amount or 80% of that amount and get Bradley Chubb, who just got cut by the Dolphins, who also has some injury history, but has also played pretty well in a Lions style? That's where you have to do that sort of math. And does that prevent you? Okay, if you sign Bosa, now you can't afford a top safety. Now you're going to get maybe a third tier safety instead to replace Branch and Joseph while they're hurt. That's the math that you have to keep doing back and forth. That's one of the reasons why I don't think there's any plausibility that the Lions trade for Max Crosby, because that is a move. Like, okay, now your free agency is like you're signing guys off the street, guys who get cut by bad teams. Like, that's all you can afford anymore for the next couple of years.
Lions from the 2016 through 2020 era.
Oh God, yes. That was actually that was the Martin Mayhew time.
Yeah.
The coming out of the win, that's one of the things that really screwed that team over. Especially when they had to pay Stafford and Sue all that money.
Yeah.
Because the rookie
and we got
contract,
screwed because the CBA changed, and it was like we were carrying that load.
We did.
Pants. Yeah.
We did. So, and again, cap flexibility is so important. Although we have been aggressive in trading draft picks in the draft, we haven't really been aggressive other than getting Zadarius Smith, who was a must-have thing. And it was only a 6th-round pick. But like, let's say you're rolling into the season and our bad luck with injuries continues, and let's say Jack Campbell breaks his leg in October, just before the trade deadline. And your options are to maybe trade away a 3rd or a 2nd-round pick to get a replacement who can keep you atop the NFC North, or you've got to go budget there. And again, these are questions like different people are going to feel different ways about it, but just understand that the other position does exist too. I'm not here to tell you that any way is right or wrong, but just know that there are two sides to that.
Yep.
And you have to. There's a finite amount of cap space, no matter how much you finagle it.
Yep.
And committing the way that they have paid their stars to stay in Detroit, which is fantastic. I think we all like that. It does come with the cost that you can't bring in the premium guys from the outside more than occasionally. And they sort of did that with first Carlton Davis, which came via trade. And then DJ Reed came. He was fairly expensive. They can't really do that anymore. DJ Reader was a guy like, in retrospect now, they probably overpaid DJ Reed.
Yeah.
But like at the time they didn't. And that's, I want to have that flexibility. I like having the options to do things. But at the same time, like would Max, let's say they do get Linderbaum. Let's say they sign him for, $18 million a year, which is ridiculous money for a center, but he might get that because again, every team wants him clearly.
Yep. I think one of the things I like, okay, Brad has always drafted players he likes, not their position. This year, he surely has to concentrate in the O-line. I don't know, man. It's like your O-line.
He did draft 2 O-linemen last year.
Yeah.
You're technically 3 because Manu's pick was last year.
And so going back to that kind of,
it's got to hit
the situation on the team, right? And the thing that hurts the most, and I'm not discounting the problems with the O-line that we've had. The thing that hurt this team the most this last season was the defense and injuries in the secondary and guys that we absolutely count on. And now with Kirby, who knows what's going on there? You've got Branch likely not back next year at least, and not 100% if he is. You've got some serious gaps in the back that you're not going to be able to fill with the amount of money we have in free agency, the players available in free agency, and what we have in the draft. Secondary players rarely are first-year impact players, rarely, because it's such an athletic, difficult place to play. Where can you get real action right away? That line. The other side of the coin is if you say we're going to fill this with bodies, we're going to go when the Jerry Jacobs years, right? We're going to get guys that play good enough, right? and we're just going to hope we have enough of them to weather all the injuries. And we're actually going to focus on the offense because our plan is to score more than every other team we play. I like that. But one of the things I love that you say, Riz, and it bore itself out in the Super Bowl this year in spades. Offense wins games, defense wins championships. And that's where who's got the patience for another year like this past season to get that defense back together? Again, with your cap, with the guys that you've re-signed, with the idea that you can't mortgage the future, as well as Holmes has done in the cap, these injuries have really pinned him into a very difficult spot. This is going to be an interesting season for the Detroit Lions and Lions fans. I hope it's not a shakeout, but I'm uncertain, to be honest with you, at this point. There's a lot of football, there's a lot of trading, there's a lot of free agency and draft ahead, but I'm a little nervous. I am frankly nervous because of the injury situation of those really big impact players.
That's perfectly natural. I think we're all nervous, but as you know, Chris, I'm a relentlessly positive person by nature. I'm a pragmatist. That is like my life mantra. Make it work. There are ways to make it work. There are a bunch of different ways to make it work. There's a bunch of different paths. Like there's any number of different ways to win in the NFL. I like the way that the Lions are trying to do it. I think they got away from it last year. That when they
fair,
and this is why I harp on the offense from last year. And some of this is John Moore, but some of this is Dan too. And I hope he learned from it. When they had a wretched defense in 2024, like, okay, we're just going to put that much more into the offense and just run the score up and keep scoring and scoring and scoring and dare them to have our defense make one play. And they completely got away from that mindset last year when their defense started to struggle.
Yeah.
And they started to get conservative. Not with the fourth down calls, but like let's run more clock. Let's not,
I'll put that on Dan a little bit too, Riz.
Yeah, it is on Dan.
Because Kelvin was new and got his orders, and Dan was probably sick of the idea. Look, we're putting players in. We've got the players this year. We've gone and got the guys to make this work. Hutch is back, right? I expect this defense to now make more than one play to save the day. This is the defense we're going to need to lean on. And that's where Kelvin got set up, maybe not for success as a result of the injuries that happened, because those were his marching orders, and he didn't have the tools to build that furniture set.
He was also a rookie coordinator, and he showed it at times too. Like there's no doubt about that. I expect him to be better in his second season. We've seen this before.
How much film he's watched this offseason already?
Yeah.
He's a monster, dude. His dedication and his focus. I don't know if he's left his house. To be honest with you, he's gonna have like a blue tint to his skin from the staring at the screen all the time. You know what I mean?
He is like that. That is definitely
relentless guy.
All right, that about him. That's one of the reasons why we're optimistic that the defense will get better. That he will do a better job with the pieces that he's got. They're not going to find anybody better now, certainly. So yeah, let's hope that he can make it work. Again, pragmatism. It's a good driving force.
Yeah. All right, next topic we're going to roll into, because this is more salient and more in the going to happen real quick kind of mindset. It's all about prepping for the combine, talking about what's coming. Before we do, actually, let me get to Billy T. We've been sitting on his question here a little bit, and I think it'll slide in between free agency and combine here that we can hit it. Is it still looking good for pseudo Phil Anselmo to potentially augment Drew Petzing's offensive orchestration?
Yes. Yeah, it is. The Seahawks were the team to worry about because they lost their offensive coordinator. He's now the coach of the Raiders. There were so many freaking coaching changes. I can't keep track.
It's going to be tough.
But they hired somebody else. So Kafka, who was in the running for that, allegedly, now there's no more chairs for him to dance to. So he will be in Detroit that I'm aware of, unless and Cleveland just fired Jim while he quit. There's probably somebody out there who might be weird. By the way, and I was going to bring this up in the daily yesterday, I forgot about it. John Fox has resurfaced in Buffalo as a special defensive assistant. That's good for him. I've always liked Foxy. Didn't do much in Detroit, but I'm happy to see that he has found a new place.
I don't know that that is good for him. Buffalo's a shit show, but whatever. Okay. I'm glad he landed a gig, right?
They've got a new stadium coming.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. It'll be warmer. Jeff Holman, good one. I absolutely love Shep, but oddly enough, I was maybe hoping for Jim Schwartz. I would love Jim Schwartz in like a special kind of consultancy position.
Jim Schwartz,
he would be fantastic.
He would be as a mentor and like button pusher for my god, that'd be fantastic. He is embroiled with the Browns, who are probably not going to let him go because they don't know what they're doing. That was a brutal situation. And it's interesting now to see the Cleveland media dividing themselves over like, well, they didn't owe Jim Schwartz anything. Like they brought in, like they are so screwed up. I am so thrilled at how well run the Lions are, relatively speaking, to the Browns and some other teams as well. Like we are in such a good spot now. Such a good spot. It's so weird because we weren't for decades, Chris.
Yeah, I know. We've got to bring back the Schwartz handshake, bring it back to the Motor City. He runs the wide 9. He could coach Aiden Hutchinson specifically because that guy's like a wide 16. Sometimes.
The other thing that he does really, really well is teaching his defensive tackles and his interior guys how to like their spacing and their level of aggression at like you don't have Aleem and Tyleek both go at the same speed at the same time. Like mix he calls it asynchronous. It's a Jim Johnson thing. Jim Johnson was his mentor with a bunch of places. The Eagles, I think, was primarily where he was at. But they do so many just little nuanced things with their interior defensive line. Remember back when we had Sue, physical marvel, but he also had savvy and sharpness to his game. And Jim Schwartz brought a lot of that. And he brought a lot of that in Cleveland with guys that most people have never heard of who actually turned out to be pretty good players. And
he made Nick Fairley look as good as Nick Fairley looked in the NFL. And I still say it to this day, worst thing ever, Nick Fairley leaving the team because he had the right support system and got himself into a really good spot. Another year with that group really would have helped him. I feel sad for him as a man. You know what I mean? Because it didn't work out. So
he is the one like the poster child for Lions of that era who would never even be considered by this regime because his love of football was it fit in a thimble.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
All right, let's get into prepping for the combine, Mr. Risdon. This is another one. Look, you've got this is like just a long form daily for you.
Well, it is because I didn't do a daily today.
You will be reporting from the combine, I assume, your dailies. Next week. Tell us all about it.
So I will be down there. I'm actually going to be in Indianapolis starting this Friday night, and I will be there through the following Saturday. So I will be there for all of the workouts except the last day. I will be in a hotel room for 8 nights in a row. A lot of fun. I will eat well. But so let's talk about what I look for when I'm at the combine.
It has to be look fake, I'm sure.
Yes.
Like you started with, you're going to eat well. I mean, this is, I know where your focus is. Come on.
Hell yeah.
All right. What do you
I love Indianapolis is a fantastic town.
It is.
It's so walkable.
Gym. It's an
I'm very much looking forward to hanging out at High Velocity in the JW Marriott with people after it closes. And, as Mac Robinson, our friend, little Mac, works for the Browns broadcasting department now. I'm so happy for him. The first time I met him, we were there. Bill Belichick comes through at like 1:30 a.m. Walking through. He's got a smile on his face, slaps his hand on the table. How's it going, boys? And Mac is like, oh my God. He like exploded like, Bill Belichick just talked to us. Like, that's what happens during that week. It's a lot of fun. But as far as like the actual combine stuff, like for the prospects, because I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that try to gathering information and stuff like that. At the combine, I'm looking for anomalies compared to what film says. Like, let's say Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think he ran a 4.5. Let's say he would have run a 4.35. Like, oh, or alternatively, and actually this happened. Let's say you're Keldrick Falk, who I think is probably if the Lions go defense in the first round, I think he's their top choice right now. Say he comes in at 295 instead of 282. And when he's running the loop drill, and the loop drill, by the way, is so good for linemen. That's where they're running around two giant hula hoops and they have to pick a towel up on one side, run around, put it on the other, and do the same on the other side. You can learn a lot about athleticism, agility, skill, hand-eye coordination, among other things from that drill. Let's say he's terrible at that. Well, that would be different than what you see on film. That's hand size, to go back to Lomas. Let's say Spencer Fano measures in with 9.5-inch hands on a 6'7" guy. Like that's tiny hands. Let's say, there is one offensive lineman this year who has notoriously short arms, and I can't think of who it is. And it's a tackle, and he's like regarded as a potential first rounder too. And it's bugging me that I can't think of it. But when you're 6'5" and your arms are listed at 33 3/4 inches, and you come in at 32, like that's short arms, y'all. Like, understand the proportionality there.
Yeah.
And speed things, acceleration things. Like, does this match what we saw the athletic potential on tape, or is there more? With Keldrick Falk, I would hope so. Is there less? LT Overton is a great example of a guy that I don't have him in my top 100, and I'm not expecting to move him up after the combine week. I don't know. Maybe I will, but that's what I'm looking for in terms of the players, measurements, things. Interviews are always fun. We hear a lot about how the interviews went with teams. Agents love to talk about that stuff, even if it's bad for their own players, because sometimes they could just get a kick out of it. And they're trying to also do damage control ahead of time with those of us who do mock drafts and projections and things like that, and say, you're probably too high on this guy because maybe he doesn't interview so well, or maybe he just doesn't come across the way that he should in an interview and the way that he will in a game. Like, these are damage control cliches from agents that we get. And I've been doing this a long time. This will be my 17th, 18th time in Indianapolis. I've been down there a lot. I missed the 3 years I lived in Houston, and I missed 2016. I've been every other year since 2005. So been to do a lot. You learn how to parse through these things. You learn just knowing these guys. Like, okay, this guy doesn't love football. Pretty clear. That was Christian Gonzalez, by the way. Very clear.
But boy, did he play well in the Super Bowl.
He sure can play. And that is honestly one of the things that's where you learn. You have to process those things, because the Lions would never – I will tell you straight up, I guarantee you they didn't consider taking him when he gave the answers that he did about, well, I don't really watch football. I don't have a favorite player. I don't model myself after anybody because I don't really like the game. He didn't say it that way, but that's exactly how it came across. But he's still a damn good player. God, imagine if he cared, Like, holy crap.
We got a question about players in the chat, and I have to do it because it's a super chat question. It's a good one. Thank you for the super chat text sauce. Is Falk just a younger Davenport? I'm scared of his lack of production and young age. Would rather Messidor or even a day 2 pick with experience if possible.
Oh, so I'm not a Messidor fan at all. He's old, he's stiff, and he can only win inside, and he's light for winning inside. So I'm not a fan of his at all. He tremendously benefited from having Ruben Bain opposite him, in my opinion. I think if he was on Purdue, there would be a person looking at him over the 5th round. That's just, he played on a high profile team. He was good, but the way he won in college, I don't see it translating to the pros very well. But back to Falk, I worry about that because he is so perfect for exactly what the Lions want. He's 20 years old, 6'6", 280 some pounds, ridiculously good arms. He plays the run on the way to the passer exceptionally well. He does create pressure, but he doesn't finish. He's not quick to get the pressure, which bugs me, should bug most Lions fans from what I gathered this offseason. So yeah, I'm concerned about that. He will not be who I want them to take, but he is who I expect them to take right now if they go defense in the first round. That's the difference between what I want and what I expect. And the what I want, I'll be honest with you, I don't know who I want them to take just yet. Probably won't be Keldrick Falk, but I wouldn't hate it. And some of it is because he's young. And you did see improvement in him winning around the outside a little bit more as the season went on. But man, he is straight out of central casting for what they want in a player and a person.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt with the super chat, but thank you, Tevasov.
No, that's a good question. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Mesidor, and again, take him off of Miami, put him in Baylor, put him in Nebraska. I don't think anybody's talking about him before day 3, like not even like a blip. And it's good for him that he's getting inflated like that, and that he played as well as he did in a high-profile program and successful situation. Man, you take Ruben Bain away from that team. You take the secondary that he had behind him, which I think is underappreciated. Like, he's kind of one-dimensional. He's kind of stiff, and he's old. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah. Okay. So there we are. Let's see. What else? What other kind of preview do you want to talk about? Talk about a couple players, but I also want you to kind of talk about what's your plan for what you're going to create while you're there, because I think people want to get a little heads up on that.
Yeah, so we get Brad and Dan on Tuesday, I believe. It'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. Last year it was Tuesday. And generally, we get a breakout session with both coordinators. That's just Detroit media. So when they're up at their podiums, like, there are 6 podiums going on at any one time. So, like, you're not going to get exclusivity with other people. But there's going to be a lot of people from other teams who are going to be asking questions in that. And when we get to the side things, it's just us. It's just the Lions credentialed media. And that's nice. Ben Johnson, I will never forget the first time he was down there. He gave us 45 minutes. I actually recorded it. And my phone battery ran out recording because he kept talking so long. And we really got to know Ben very well. And everything that he said wound up being right, like in some form. And I'm just knowing Drew Petzing and the little bit that I do, I can kind of see him doing that too. He's not as talkative as Ben, but so that will be fun. I will be looking for
a battery booster for your phone, please, this time.
Yeah, I might need that. Definitely. I look for who's talking to who agent-wise. I have worked very diligently over the years to try and build connections to learn some of these things. And I've had people that have been very helpful for me on that front. I tend to lean on them some, try to offer what I can. Another thing, it's a great time to get to know, like, getting caught up with my media friends from other teams and other markets. Like, okay, tell me about, he came up in the Slack today, and it's a good, I forget who brought it up, but Austin Hooper is a tight end. Like, he worked with Drew Petzing in Cleveland. He was a draft pick. Like, why is he still out there? Like, why is he an option? Is he an option? And I can go and talk to people that have been with him since I was last with him and, like, learn things like that. So that's sort of where I go. It's weird that we learn more about what's going to happen in free agency than the draft at the combine, but we absolutely do. It's weird that way. Some of it's because free agency is the next week and the draft is 2 months away.
Yeah. really quick, we got another presser question coming in. This one's for me. Why does hand size matter, and why is my wife disappointed that I have small hands? Jeff, this is definitely a demo thing. If you want, next time I'm in town, I can help coach you through it. And it's not the hand size; it's how you use it. So let me know, and I'll give you a hand.
Yeah. So hand size for offensive linemen, for quarterbacks, Jared Goff has notoriously small hands. It was one of the knocks on him. He does fumble a lot. That's ball security is part of that. Being able to hold onto a wet football, the more surface area you have with your hands, the more you can put a grip on it. I like it for specifically offensive linemen and defensive linemen because you're increasing your surface area that you're putting into a chest or using on a shoulder or things like that. And that does matter. It might not seem like a half an inch matters, but as ladies will tell you, it does.
There you go. All right. Combine rocking in and rolling, coming into the house. Lot going on there. Riz, really quick, your schedule. Are you going to be every day? Are you going to be on the field live talking to players? Or
no, we are not. We don't get that access. I will probably do a daily summary from my hotel room. I do have a couple of notable people who would like to join me next week, and I'm going to try to work it out where we're talking to them, and that will probably wind up being so. The combine takes place in the Indianapolis Convention Center, which is a massive, massive place. It literally takes 20 minutes to walk from one end to where our media room is to where we get to talk to the players and the coaches and where Radio Row is. Like, it's a long ass hike. There's a lot of spaces in there where we can, steal away, and I will try to grab, Trevor Sikkema, Kyle Krabs, guys like that, and try to get them on. I'm having dinner with both of them next week as part of a group, so we'll try to massage some of that. But I will try to do. We don't really get players. Agents don't like to talk on camera, unfortunately. It's disappointing because sometimes I think it's just perfect. Can you just say that for my fans, please? For the Lions fans that are out there, can you just tell them? Because they might not want to hear it from me, but maybe if it's somebody who's employed like in that industry, like maybe they'll listen to you more. But they don't like to do that. We are not allowed to do any sort of broadcast signal whatsoever inside Lucas Oil Field. Like they will come and take your stuff away. I've seen it done. You can actually ask the Tesla family because they were recording Isaac running and they had to beg, like, we're not going to put this up. We just wanted it for our own stuff. And they let them do it. But they're like, if I even tried, like, I actually did a radio spot from in the lobby last year. I excused myself from the media area, went out in the lobby, and one of the security guards was like, you can't broadcast from here. I'm like, I'm on the phone. He's like, you can't do that here. So they're like really anal strict about that. So you will not see anything from inside the field. I might take a picture just for, be my silent little protest.
There you go.
Yeah.
Get a good look at their hand size over dinner, Jeff, for research. Thanks, Harry Gator guy. Go Gator.
Yep. Yeah. So last year, just at dinner, this is where I met Seth McLaughlin and his family last year. I went out with Huge and a couple of other people, and we wound up waiting at the bar for our tables, and we were talking with them. Like, Huge has no shame, so he goes up and is like, "You look like a player." So we got into a conversation with them, and then their table wound up being like right behind us. So we wound up talking and chatting with them the whole time. That's how I know Seth McLaughlin. Like, random happenstances like that come up. That's how I met Tyler Rell last year, the tight ends coach, just as they hired him. I was at Hooters with a friend. He knew Tyler, and Tyler was in there, and he introduced me to him, and we wound up sitting at the table with him. Like, this is gold. That kind of weird stuff happens all the time there. Yeah. And I really enjoy that kind of stuff. And I'll share as much as I can publicly on that kind of thing too.
Couple quick things here. We got to hit, and then we'll roll. Yeah. First, Tracy Scroggins. Barely knew ye. 9-year Lions player. Passed away. Family says it was related to CTE. It's just heartbreaking. He was there
He's
for
like
a long
54
time.
years old. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Way too young to go. As somebody
56,
who turns 54 this year.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He was there. I'll never forget his name. You know, I mean, I watched him play for so long and just was
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
So that stinks. I want to go to the other end of the emotional spectrum though, and just give a big shout out and a congratulations to Brian Burkheiser and the Scatterbrain Project. Got through all the legal BS, got that first single out, Phases. Dude, you guys don't know, there is so much good music following that. This guy has so much in the can. The Scatterbrain thing is really, really cool. I'm super excited for him and what this is going to become. Check it out. They're gold, man. They're gold. This is really cool. Michigan, Detroit area music. You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
He's someone I would love to have him be the halftime act at Thanksgiving next year. That would be great.
Oh God, yeah.
That would be very nice.
We got to get him on the show. We've talked about it a number of times.
He has agreed to come on the show. No problem. He is a friend of both of ours, so it would be nice to get him on soon.
Yeah.
One other quick thing on that front. 2 years ago today, the person who took over Texans Wire for me and allowed me to move to Lions Wire, his name was Mark Lane. He passed away. He was in his 30s. He had a collapsed lung that got infected. And it's terrible. And he was a great dude. He was a very irreverent dude. And Chris, as you know, I have a hard time delegating and turning things over. So when I turned over Texans Wire to him, I was very, very nervous. And he did a fantastic job with it. And he did better than I did there. And it sucks that he's gone. And I will be I have a picture of him. He was always in the same spot at every interview podium. We put a picture there of him there in that spot. And I'm proud to do that. So rest in peace, Mark. I miss you, buddy.
There you go. All right. With all that, we've got a show in the can, and that's who doesn't like it in the can. Let's talk about next week. Riz going to be doing a bunch of dailies from the combine. I'm likely going to find one of our other fellas that we have on our roundtables here at the DLP and sack up with them for a show. So we'll have some fun with that, and we'll tell all the Riz jokes and everything else. You can't give Riz the mic and let him go wild and tear you apart if you don't have a little opportunity to shoot back. So we'll do that. Riz, keep rocking those dailies. Bish, Brown, Gray, all the good stuff coming. We're going to get through the combine. We're going to get through free agency, and then it's draft. And you guys, I think you're going to love what we do with the draft this year. Not just the actual draft, but the lead up to the draft. Keep your eyes on the ball and stay tuned. Great stuff coming. A lot of fun to be had here. Detroit Lions podcast. We got that. So with that, Riz, let's call it a show. You feel good about it?
Sounds good to me.
All right, in the can. Don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions podcast. $5 or more gets you access to the Slack chat. It is the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. It's a great time, great people. It's a lot of fun. It's hundreds of people there. Lots of fun hanging out and just kind of shooting the stuff about the Lions. Also, I'm thinking of doing like a dollar tier, like a newsletter, putting something together for everybody that's on the dollar tier of the Slack, just to give them a little something. So I'd probably look for that for all the people that are in the Slack or in the Patreon now. I'd probably look for that by the end of the month. And
that'd be cool.
And not February, by the 18th of March, we'll call it that way because I got a little bit busy here. So we'll get that going. And I have something else that I'm still working on and I'm really close to cracking the nut on. And that's for if we get the folks that go $10 more, an ad-free feed for everybody. So you can get all the stuff, no ads, just our mugs in your face all the time. So there you go. Lots of stuff coming for all those folks that have helped us in along the way. So thank you all. Follow us on Twitter at Jeff Risdon, spelled like you see right there, and at DET Lions Podcast. DET Lions Podcast is really the place where you're going to see everything that's going on, what's happening, who's doing what, when things are going live, the topics. So we have emergency podcasts, all that kind of stuff. That's your line to what's going on. Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, subscribe to the podcast, and we will pop into your face automatically. It's going everywhere, Riz. Thank you for tuning in. You froze just right. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, and no problems, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Riz, everybody, we'll talk to you soon.